Trauma bonding is one of the most misunderstood psychological phenomena in human relationships. Many people hear the term and assume it simply means two people who have been through difficult experiences together. That's not what it is. A trauma bond is an unhealthy emotional attachment that forms between a victim and someone who repeatedly hurts, manipulates, or abuses them. It's the reason intelligent, kind, emotionally aware people sometimes stay in relationships that are destroying them. It's why someone can know they're being mistreated and still feel incapable of leaving. From the outside, people often ask, why didn't they just walk away? But that question misses the point. The bond itself becomes the prison. You can remove the chains from someone's hands, but if their mind still believes they need the person hurting them, they'll willingly walk back into the cage. Today, we're going to break down exactly how trauma bonds are created, why they're so powerful, the psychological tricks that keep them alive, and most importantly, how you can recognize and break free from one. Because once you understand the mechanics behind trauma bonding, you'll never look at toxic relationships the same way again. Imagine meeting someone who seems perfect. They understand you. They text you constantly. They tell you they've never met anyone like you. They make you feel special in ways you've never experienced before. Every conversation leaves you smiling. Every compliment feels genuine. Every moment with them feels exciting. For the first time in a long time, you believe you've finally found your person. Then something changes. They suddenly become distant. Messages slow down. Affection disappears. They criticize little things. They make you feel guilty. They start arguments over nothing. You become confused, just as you're ready to leave. They become loving again. They apologize. They shower you with affection. They promise things will be different. The version of them you fell in love with suddenly returns. You feel relieved. Hope comes rushing back. You convince yourself the bad days were just temporary. Then, the cycle repeats, again and again and again. Without realizing it, your brain is no longer chasing a healthy relationship. It's chasing relief. And that difference changes everything. Here's what most people don't realize. Trauma bonding isn't powered by love. It's powered by unpredictability. Your brain is designed to recognize patterns. When rewards become unpredictable, the brain actually becomes more obsessed with obtaining them. This is the same psychological principle that keeps gamblers pulling slot machine levers. Most spins lose, but occasionally, the machine rewards them. That tiny chance of reward keeps them playing. Relationships built on trauma bonds operate almost identically. One day you're ignored. The next day you're adored. One week you're criticized. The next week you're treated like royalty. Your emotional system never knows what's coming. Instead of becoming detached, you become addicted. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. Ironically, inconsistent affection often creates stronger emotional attachment than consistent affection. Healthy love feels safe. Trauma bonds feel exciting. Your nervous system begins confusing emotional chaos with emotional depth. You mistake intensity for intimacy. That's one of the biggest traps. Love doesn't have to feel like emotional survival. But trauma convinces you that it should. Manipulative people rarely begin with abuse. If they did, most victims would leave immediately. Instead, they start by creating emotional dependence. This phase is often called love bombing. They overwhelm you with attention. Constant compliments, daily messages, future plans, deep emotional conversations. You feel chosen. You feel understood. You feel seen. The relationship progresses unusually fast. It feels magical, almost too good to be true, because it usually is. Love bombing isn't genuine intimacy. It's accelerated attachment. The manipulator wants you emotionally invested before revealing who they really are. Once your emotional dependence is established, the rules change. Now begins the devaluation stage. Affection becomes conditional. Criticism increases. They begin controlling small aspects of your life. Who you spend time with, what you wear, how quickly you reply. They slowly convince you that every conflict is somehow your fault. If they yell, you provoked them. If they cheat, you weren't affectionate enough. If they disappear, you're too needy. Notice the pattern. Responsibility is always redirected back to you. Over time, your confidence begins disappearing, not because you're weak, but because you've been trained to question your own reality. This leads directly into one of the most dangerous manipulation tactics ever discovered. Gaslighting. Gaslighting isn't simply lying. It's convincing someone they can't trust their own memory, emotions, or judgment. You remember something clearly. They deny it happened. You show proof. They call you dramatic. You express your feelings. They accuse you of being crazy. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself. And when you no longer trust yourself, you become dependent on the person manipulating you to define reality. That's psychological captivity. Trauma bonds don't just affect emotions. They physically change how your brain responds to stress. Every conflict floods your body with stress hormones. Cortisol rises. Your heart races. Your mind becomes consumed with fixing the relationship. Then suddenly, they apologize. They hug you. They become affectionate again. Your brain releases dopamine. Oxytocin follows. The emotional pain temporarily disappears. Relief feels incredible. Notice something important. You're no longer addicted to the person. You're addicted to the relief they provide after causing the pain. They're creating the wound, then selling you the bandage. This repeated emotional roller coaster strengthens the bond over time. The highs become higher, the lows become lower. Leaving begins to feel emotionally impossible. Many victims describe withdrawal symptoms after ending toxic relationships. Insomnia, anxiety, obsessive thoughts, depression, constant urges to reconnect. People often mistake these feelings as proof they were deeply in love. Sometimes, they're actually symptoms of emotional addiction. One reason trauma bonds are so difficult to escape is because manipulation rarely happens all at once. It's gradual. Imagine placing a frog into boiling water. It jumps out immediately. Place it in cool water and slowly raise the temperature. It doesn't recognize the danger until it's too late. Manipulation works similarly. Small insults become regular criticism. Small lies become constant deception. Minor jealousy becomes total control. Each new behavior feels only slightly worse than the last. Your brain adapts. Your standards shift. The unacceptable slowly becomes normal. Another powerful force behind trauma bonding is hope. Hope isn't always positive. Sometimes, hope becomes the chain keeping someone trapped. Victims often stay because they remember who the person was in the beginning. They believe that version still exists somewhere underneath. They keep chasing the early days. They keep waiting for the loving version to come back permanently. But here's the painful truth. If someone's kindness only appears after they've hurt you, it's not evidence of change. It's evidence of the cycle. The kindness isn't ending the manipulation. It's maintaining it. Healthy relationships don't require emotional destruction before affection. The apology shouldn't be the most loving part of the relationship. One of the biggest myths about trauma bonding is that only weak people experience it. Research and real-world experience show the opposite. Empathetic people are often more vulnerable. Why? Because they naturally try to understand others. They excuse bad behavior. They believe everyone deserves another chance. They assume pain explains cruelty. Manipulators recognize this. Your compassion becomes the tool they use against you. Every broken promise has an explanation. Every betrayal has a sad story. Every abusive moment comes with tears and regret. Eventually, you're no longer evaluating their behavior. You're evaluating their potential. You fall in love with who they could become instead of accepting who they repeatedly show themselves to be. Another reason people stay is identity. After months or years of emotional manipulation, the relationship becomes part of who they are. Leaving doesn't just mean losing a partner. It means losing routines, dreams, future plans, shared memories, sometimes even friends and family. The uncertainty feels terrifying. Even if the relationship is painful, it's familiar. And the human brain often chooses familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. That's why breaking trauma bonds requires more than walking away physically. It requires rebuilding your identity emotionally. Healing begins with recognizing the cycle instead of individual moments. Manipulators want you focused on isolated acts of kindness. Healthy thinking focuses on consistent patterns. Ask yourself, how do I feel most of the time? Do I feel respected, safe, calm? Or am I constantly anxious, confused, and trying to earn basic affection? Love shouldn't feel like passing an exam every day. Another powerful step is reconnecting with reality. Talk to trusted friends. Journal your experiences. Read old messages. Many survivors are shocked when they revisit conversations months later. They notice manipulation they couldn't see while emotionally involved. Distance creates clarity. Boundaries are equally important. Manipulators often test boundaries repeatedly. The first ears nose usually isn't the last challenge. Expect guilt. Expect pressure. Expect emotional appeals. Remember, someone who respects you won't punish you for having boundaries. They'll adjust. Healing also means accepting grief. You aren't only grieving the relationship. You're grieving the future you imagined, the person you hoped they'd become, the dreams you built together. That grief is real, but grieving an illusion is healthier than living inside one forever. Over time, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system begins calming down. Silence no longer feels threatening. Peace stops feeling boring. You begin recognizing that stability isn't the absence of passion. It's the presence of safety. Healthy love doesn't constantly make you question your worth. It doesn't require endless forgiveness. It doesn't leave you exhausted every week. It feels consistent, predictable, secure, perhaps not as emotionally explosive, but infinitely more fulfilling. Here's something worth remembering. The strongest relationships aren't built on surviving constant emotional storms together. They're built on creating fewer storms in the first place. If someone repeatedly hurts you, apologizes, changes briefly, then hurts you again, pay attention to the pattern. Patterns reveal character far more accurately than promises. Your future isn't determined by how much pain you're willing to tolerate. It's determined by the standards you're willing to protect. Walking away from a trauma bond isn't giving up on love. It's refusing to confuse suffering with love any longer. The moment you stop chasing temporary relief from someone causing your pain, you create space for something you've probably been missing all along: peace. And sometimes, peace is the clearest sign that you finally found real freedom. If this video helped you understand trauma bonding in a new way, let me know in the comments. What's the biggest sign of a trauma bond that people often ignore? If you enjoyed this deep dive into human behavior, manipulation, and psychological self-protection, subscribe to Dark Mind Academy. Every week, we uncover the hidden patterns behind toxic relationships and teach you how to recognize them before they control your life. Until next time, stay aware, stay calm, and never let someone else define your reality.